today was almost like a special. It was pretty nice out, and I had the whole day. So I said, Sam, you better go try to catch some fish. Fishing pole, bobber, hot dogs, hook, you know the deal. And I went to this spot down by this, like under a bridge by this one river I like, because it's got parking. It's like a whole park and everything. Literally there for 2.5 hours, nothing. But that's why they call it fishing and not catching. But no, I was starting to get kind of upset. That sucks. One, like, barely a nibble. Barely. And it was probably just, like, me getting snagged on a branch or something. I brought the tripod, I brought everything. But I didn't want to set it up until I caught something, because I kind of wanted proof that there was actually something to see. I was going to make a classic joke like, oh, here's dinner. Next time. So other than that, and the cardio this morning, it's a fun day. But now it can be really fun. Now it can be extra cool, and I can do the real part of the day. And honestly, even relative to other lifts, I gotta get extra real for this one, because it's legs. And I mean, that's kind of a mental thing. You know, it's just a muscle group. There's nothing insanely different about the workout compared to anything else. But the fact that it's such a big muscle, quads especially, it kind of requires some fucking effort. You know, I can sit here and do sets of curls to failure pretty casually. Like, I don't need to be in a demonic zone to do a set of dumbbell curls to failure. I mean, you've seen it. You know, when I do my arm day videos, usually I'll say I'll say some shit, and then pick up the dumbbells 5 seconds later and start the set. And I still go hard. You know, I take it as far as I can. But with some sets of squats and some leg extensions, I don't know if you picked up on this, but I feel like I don't do so much pre-set banter. You know, because before the set, I'm trying to, you know, get in my own head and really get amped up to fucking hit it. And then I might talk about it a little more afterwards. But hamstrings, basic approach is normal. You know, I'm talking hamstring curls, laying. Actually, probably, no. They've got a standing curl at this gym. Probably laying, standing. Maybe a touch of RDLs, you know, hip hinging. But maybe not, you know. I feel like if I were to do a whole workout of RDLs compared to a whole workout of hamstring curls, I don't know, it's kind of a hard sell, man. The hamstring curls fucking, let's just say they do me good. And the RDLs, I just don't get that same contraction. Good stretch. So I'm not knocking RDLs, of course, but the majority of my hamstring work is mainly hamstring curls. That's at least what I've been doing for a while. And then, depending on what I do pressing wise today, hamstrings will come into play, especially on leg presses. When you squat, especially like medium to high bar and with your heels elevated, your hamstrings won't come into play much strength wise. That's partially why I don't mind doing hamstrings first and completely finishing the hamstring part of the workout, and then starting quads, and then starting, you know, some kind of heavy pressing after some leg extensions. I just saw a comment where it's like, why are you doing hamstring curls before your heavy pressing movement? Aren't you tiring yourself out? And that's a good fucking critique. But not exactly, you know, because hamstrings are they're just far removed enough from quads where I don't really, let's just say strength-wise, I don't incur much damage from a hamstring pump. I'm a little bit fatigued, like, you know, breathing-wise, I'm sweating, but I can still press with pretty much my full strength. If anything, I like pressing with a hamstring pump just because it makes me feel a little bit more, well, just warm. When you get to the bottom, And once you get big enough, your hamstrings will start to kind of run into your calves a little bit, and it acts as a little bit of kind of an internal cushion. Squatting with a hamstring pump, even just a moderate one from like doing some light work, if you haven't done it before, I would recommend it. And then speaking of internal pressure, I've been getting curious about knee sleeves. Not out of necessity, but I've only heard good things. I'm not one to jump on the, equipped sets train. I think a lot of people have belts and wear belts in the gym, especially, younger / early lifter demographic, purely because, people say belts are cool. And I mean, it is kind of cool having this fancy pants leather metal thing that you can, shoot off when you finish your set. But, a lot of the times I feel like people use equipment in the gym when they don't actually need it. They just kind of do it because it seems like the right thing to do. And with belts, I don't like squatting with a belt. I don't like pressing with a belt. I don't like rows with a belt. It's just too much internal pressure. And I haven't felt the need. Maybe if I was trying to optimize my 1 rep maxes on, squat and deadlifts, I'd wear one. But for my squats, even really heavy squats, where I can do 8 reps, it just hasn't been necessary for me. I've got a pretty developed core, so that helps. But, yeah, I just don't like it. Whereas with sleeves, I really only hear good things. It's to the point where I'm hearing, like, your knees just feel extra fucking stable. Which, I mean, it doesn't seem that cool. But, that could get you a few more extra reps in the squat. That could give you a little bit of more longevity in your tendons and whatever else. That's kind of what I'm thinking, I haven't noticed a problem with my knees, even this whole time. But I am curious, so I think I'm going to order some... my friend Kevin, powerlifter, 700-pound squatter, he was telling me, actually I don't remember exactly, he was telling me to get some SBDs. He said SBD sleeves were nice. Not too thick, not too thin, just enough to give you some support. Now, take that a level further, knee wraps. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the category of unnecessary. Unless you're really just trying to move weight powerlifter style, the knee wraps, it's just not it's not necessary. I'm not speaking from experience. That's just kind of my findings from hearing everybody talk about them. But yeah, and I don't think that's a point that needs made. I don't see too many bodybuilder / just basic lifter guys using wraps. That's mainly power lifters. But one thing to keep in mind, and this is from hearing some discussion, is prolonged use of insanely tight knee wraps may mess with your fucking nerves from your knee down. Because, a knee sleeve, that's a lot of pressure in your knee. I mean, like, a reasonable amount. But the knee wraps is so constrictive. I mean, you've heard anybody, if you've watched any powerlifting meet videos, where like they take their wraps off as soon as they're done with their set or their rep, and they put them on as close to their call out time as they can, because your circulation to your knee and below is now cut to zilch, none, and your nerves and your fucking veins, they need that fresh oxygen supply. And if you combine that with the fucking tension of 1,000 men when you squat, 600 pounds, something to think about if that's you. I would probably assume that's maybe like 2% of the people watching this. I don't think I have a massive, extreme powerlifting crowd tuning into these. But other than that, it's just you, your legs, and the machines. So, like I said, hamstrings first, then quads. Hamstrings, pretty basic, hamstring curls. I think you can build a big set of hamstrings with them. And then quads is going to be a little bit more methodical. There will be more exercises, more variation. And one thing I can say with certainty is at the end of it, my legs are going to be wrecked. Now, are they going to be insanely pumped? That's actually a to be determined. Because for me, to get a really crazy arm pump, even dieted down and flat, no problem. Chest, no problem. Back, no problem. But legs are a little bit stingier, pump-wise. To the point where, like, my last leg day, it was a good leg day. Some crazy heavy squats, nasty sets of leg extensions. But pump-wise, like the blood, it wasn't so insanely inflated in a way, or like stretched out. And that doesn't surprise me. You know, you got to remember, the pump itself, it doesn't come from nowhere. You know, fluids that are floating around your body all over the place, you know, be it water, blood, sarcoplasm, yada, you know, primordial ooze. You've only got so much. So to pump up your biceps doesn't take much. To pump up your chest takes a little more, but still, you know, not a crazy amount. But your quads are literally the biggest fucking muscle in your body. So if you're dieted down, you know, and you're not full of glycogen, which is basically going to make your water, or make your muscles hold more carbs and water and keep you really, I mean, I don't want to say inflated, that's not the right word, but let's just say full. You know, if you're dieted down, yeah, your leg pumps may suffer, which, I mean, that sucks. That's literally, I feel like if you put a list of my 5 catchphrases, that's one of them. Dieting will affect the pump when it comes to quads. But the pump, it's not necessarily like a 1-to-1 indicator that you had a good workout. You know, my last leg day, even though I wasn't so insanely pumped, I still did my good working sets. You know, I still got a lot of fatigue and muscle activation. You know, squatted my 5 plates and everything. But the pump, just not so much. And that would make sense, you know, I dieted. But relating that back to maybe a situation you could find yourself in, or you have found yourself in, sometimes it just doesn't click. You know, sometimes you go to the gym, you're doing chest, and it's just not, you just don't really feel like your body's getting into it. And is that your cue to leave the gym? I don't think so. I do not think so. Is that your cue that maybe something in your, you know, lift preparation was off? Be it sleep, food, hydration, you know, maybe stress. That could be one. Actually, that could really fuck with your lift if you're not in, if your head's way out of the game. So usually, if my lifts are way out of whack, it's because something I did before the gym was off. I'm most notably, you know, responsible for slacking off on my sleep. I'm always hydrated. I'm always as well fed as I can be. You know, dieting, not so much. But sleep is the one thing that I really want to start prioritizing. And that's like a constant fucking thing for me. I sleep, but sometimes I'm like watching a fucking series of YouTube videos and TikTok, and before I know it, it's 2 a.m. We've all been down that road. But no more talking. Let's get started. A little different approach than normal. Instead of a bazillion pound hamstring curl, moderate weight, light, single leg squeezing. Oh my God. Okay. Let's do a double leg set next. Still light though. So getting into what I was saying before, or maybe not before, but what I have said before, is sometimes it takes a few sets to really get into the, I mean, pretty much get into your groove. Like that first set, even though, I mean, I still burn out my hamstrings, I could tell they didn't really feel like they were firing at 100%. And dieting down, that's much more typical for me. I mean, it's not typical, but it's much more likely. Like I know that's why I feel a little bit weaker than normal. So that's just part of it. You know, if you're dieting down and you don't feel like an absolute beast during your training, that's okay. But try to go as hard as you can regardless of that. That's my main point. But after that set, I should be into it now. Oh my god. Oh, fuck. That felt much better. Let's spam those. Same style. Oh, yeah. Oh, few more. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm in the fucking groove now. Whew. I lied. I'll just make it a drop set. Oh my god. Okay. All right. Based on a combination of pumpedness, fatigueness, well, actually, really just pumpedness, fatigueness, and the lifting experience I have so far, I think one more set will be enough for hamstrings. And I'll make sure it's just as hard. Actually, no, that's fucking stupid. I'll make sure it's harder than this one. Okay. Let's get quads started. Holy shit. Woo. Hamstrings. Done. Reasonably heavy. Single leg. Failure-ish on each side. Leg extensions is a little tricky. I mean, it's like lateral raises. It's like, where is the bar of like failure? You know, because I could probably sit here for a while after I get to the point of barely even really be able to reasonably flex my quad and just kind of wobble the weight around. Really, you know when you've pretty much done enough. And you definitely know when you didn't. At least if you have any sense of fucking urgency and pride, you know? If I did a set and like I know I had 10 more reps and I said, oh, that's enough, it hurts, I don't think YouTube would even want me to say what I would want somebody to do to me if that's how I lifted. So let's just get for real. Weak side first. My left quad's a little smaller than the right. I'm gonna match the reps on the strong side to the weak side. So if I fail at 10 here and I could get 12 here, I'm still gonna stop at 10 so that my muscular imbalances can gradually even out. But same with hamstrings. That was a good set, but I don't feel like my quads are fully activated yet. So that almost counts as a warm-up. Like that was a damaging set, that was a productive set, but I'm still getting into really wrecking quads. Oh. Okay. One more. A little heavier too. Holy crap. You got it. Oh my God, fuck. You're fine. Let's go squat. Oh my goodness. Smith squats felt a little funky. So instead, let's do a double leg set here, burn out a little more on leg extensions, and then do some machine hack squat. So this set will be double leg. I'll try to do tempo reps in the beginning, half up, pause, then finish. And as I get close to pretty much totally burned out, I'll just start forcing some nasty ones. Okay. Let's do some machine hacks. Not insane weight, but this is kind of a lighter weight style of press. Oh my God. Oh. One more, at least. Oh my goodness. A little heavier. This set, I'll try not to stop at the top and breathe and really just wreck these fuckers back to back. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, fuck. Oh my God. Okay. I think let's just do one more set of leg extensions. And that's it. Oh my God. Okay. I got on a leg extension. I was gonna burn out with some single leg shit, but it just felt like my quads were fucking done. Not like they were tired. Of course they were tired by the end, but they were just like, I don't know, it almost felt like if I did another set, I would just be increasing my fatigue without increasing the effectiveness of the lift, you know? And whether or not I actually called it at the right time, I'm not 100% certain, but I do think that quads are done without any more work. So let's see how the legs are looking pumped up, and then get out of here and go eat. I'm fucking hungry. Oh. So we're getting there. Let's see, are we in vein territory yet? Oh my God. Yeah, I think that answers that. Let's just go over one more tonight. Oh shit. We get some calf veins in there as well. That is more than fucking fine by me. Let's see what else is there. Oh, yeah. I wonder if this will be an iconic, well, not iconic. This is just a fucking stolen pose from Ramon. I'm pretty sure he was doing a side tricep. Yeah, see, so I'm starting to see some feathering over here. The fact that my legs are pumped right now means some of my separation is kind of faded out just from how, inflated they are. But, I mean, let's get a little bit leaner, and these will really start to be extra veiny. Let's do one more breath hold. Okay. All right. Quads pumped and veiny, and I'm fucking tired. So that's my cue to fucking go home. Huh? There we go. I always do a little yell to make sure the microphone is fucking actually transmitting audio. I'm kind of surprised there's only been a few times where there was like no audio for the whole car talk. Good for me. But no insanely heavy squats. Sam, what did you just come in there to play around? I think that the last set of heavy squats I did is still hitting me a little bit today. To the point where maybe back up a touch. Back up just a touch. And you gotta remember, these workouts are, their primary fucking goal is to maintain the muscle and strength that I've got built already. So, really, dieting down, my primary goal in the gym is just to, stimulate, not necessarily completely annihilate. Because when you're full of food, when you're eating 5,000 calories plus-ish, I really don't think there's a limit to how hard you can go. At least, within a reasonable workout scheme. Whereas dieting down, there's no need to do sets that are, going to kind of fuck with my hips or whatever else. Maybe not my hips per se, but I could kind of feel my adductor was a little tighter than normal. That's something which will kind of get me if I squat too heavy too quickly. Really, I probably should have done some adductor work, but I will save that for tomorrow. But nasty pump. Veins are finally appearing on the quads. So this next month should really be a fucking game changer in terms of my looks. Not that that's the goal. I'm not dieting down just because I want to see myself lean. I'm just trying to get to a point where I've got less body fat and my appetite is back to pretty much peak. So I can bulk up without getting too soft. That's kind of that's sort of the back and forth. Lean to bulked and still relatively lean, and then lean again. Up and down, and then, fucking continue growing. But yeah, I was kind of surprised. Compared to the last leg day, I was much veinier today. Which, I don't think I need to tell you, I'm not complaining. That is in no way a fucking complaint. So, another month, and then can finally start bulking up again, which I'm really excited for, because that's where I'm actually progressing, like dieting down, that's kind of it's almost it feels like more of a chore than it is a real problem for me or not problem, but challenge. I don't have much difficulty not eating a crazy amount of food, which I've kind of noticed I've gotten better at over time, because I've dieted down for 2-3 months at a time, about 5 times now, so I'm kind of used to it, so not only am I used to it, but I've also kind of got a good hold of all the sort of tips and tricks that I can do to not necessarily curb my hunger or my cravings or anything, but just kind of diet in a way that fucking makes sense for me specifically. I don't have to do a straight up chicken and rice, no sweets kind of diet. I can still add some in, track the macros of course, and eat in a deficit and get leaner. But for me, your genetics are going to play a role, but really, I was a pretty active kid coming up too. I didn't have a fat to skinny transition into lifting. I was just kind of lean and skinny to now big and lean. So, being lean, it's never been too much of a hassle for me. And you know what else helps you stay on the leaner side of things? I don't even have to say it because you already know what I'm going to say. Doing your... right here. I wonder if I'll remember to splice in those letters. Your cardio, goddammit. 30 minutes a day, not even that hard, and you're going to be a leaner dude even if you change nothing. If the only change that you made to your routine was 30 minutes of cardio in the morning, you would get leaner. And you would just be at more of a baseline state of leanness. So, even if your only motivation for fucking fitness is how you look to other people, in such a vain sense, doing cardio is good for you. Not only is it good for you on the inside, but it's going to make you generally leaner. You're just going to have a better time. I won't turn this whole... You've seen me do it before. I've turned these 20-minute talks into just 20 minutes purely about cardio. I won't do that this time. But I'm telling you, it will help. It will fucking help. But yeah, I mean, you know, now I know instead of, if I want to eat something sweet, then maybe I'll have my real meal first. You know, I'm talking like ground beef or chicken, or, you know, maybe a protein shake blended up with ice, so it's kind of more of like a smoothie type situation. And then, once I've eaten a real meal, you know, maybe grab a little kid-sized pack of fruit snacks out of the kitchen cupboard. You know, 20 grams of carbs at the end. You know, saving your dessert, saving your kind of dessert style foods or your sweets until after you've had a reasonably sized meal. That's one little trick which you are gonna, well, which I would think is gonna help you not eat too much of it. You know, if I'm hungry, if I'm coming out of my room or I'm waking up in the morning and I'm hungry and I gotta eat something and I want a treat, at least just a little bit of one, if I open the freezer and I grab a spoon and I tell myself, okay, just one scoop of vanilla, and then I'll put it back. Does not happen like that, you know. But if first, you know, I got up, I made myself, you know, some scrambled egg whites, throw some yolks in there too, get some omega-3 action, you know, add some hot sauce, add some salsa. If I'm really crazy, chop up some onions and vegetables, spinach, throw it in there, kind of make a real kind of breakfasty omelet. You know, add some sugar-free barbecue sauce on the side. The barbecue sauce on the eggs, underrated. You know, eggs are so plain, you know, you can really add whatever you want to them. I've done egg whites and mustard, which, I mean, it doesn't necessarily sound the best, but it tastes pretty good to me. But have a real meal first, and then, you know, you're already kind of full, so your hunger's kind of been satiated. And then, you know, you can scratch that little itch in the back of your mind, that's your sweet tooth talking, with, you know, something small. And you won't be so encouraged to, like, just keep chowing down on it, because even though you may have gotten the kind of sweet sensation that your dopamine receptors love, you're still hungry, you know? So food first, treat second. That will help. And that's in a macro tracking context, you know? If I were trying to go about dieting and it was all guesswork and I wasn't tracking everything, I wasn't using my kitchen scale, which everyone should fucking have, look, man, not only would I have a harder time, but I'd have no fucking... It'd be so hard to track. I wouldn't even know what I'm doing, you know? If that's you, and you have a hard time dieting, but you've never really tracked the macros or weighed out your foods or counted... you don't even have to track every macro. But if you just counted your calories for the day, you know, if you didn't even get so deep into it that you're tracking every gram of fat, carb, protein, if you just went by calories and you stayed under, you know, your 2,000, your 2,500, you'd still be able to get lean, man. I really don't think anything beats the macro tracking method. Now, you may, if you're kind of a more legit lifter / bodybuilder style dude, you may say, Sam, but what about meal prepping? Not going to disagree with you. But meal prepping is just macro tracking, except you track the macros before you eat the food. Whereas if you track them constantly throughout the day, it is a little bit more of a chore, because you don't get to make just, you know, 6 Tupperware containers of like 25 or 40 grams of carbs of rice, 8 ounces of chicken, and some broccoli. You kind of have to constantly be fucking with it. But you do get to eat a more varied diet. And I think, you know, repetition of the same foods day in, day out is not going to make it super easy for you to, you know, cut down calorie-wise. But no more chit-chat there. January, February, March, April. It's almost May, man. It's almost May. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, January, March, April. Right, yeah, so 30%. We're about 1/3 of the way through this entire year. Are you grinding? Are you locked in? You know, have you noticed that all the posts where it's like, this year, I'm on my shit. This, you know, last year version of me was like, you know, Diary of a Wimpy Kid image. This year, Baki, you know, with a crazy, like, ominous edit. Have you noticed that all those posts have disappeared? You know, it's because the New Year's hype, the New Year, new me, I'm gonna lock in and fucking grind. That mindset is gone. Honestly, yeah, right now I have not seen one of those posts for weeks, and it does not surprise me. You know, because the people who make those posts are, let's just say, they're the people who make those posts year after year after year. You know, because it does feel, you do kind of get a little bit of a hype response in your mind when you post this year. You won't even recognize me. Or, you know, you get the shit I'm kind of talking about, right? Sort of the, I mean, kind of the goofy, like I'm fucking David. I mean, I'm not. Oh, David Goggins is not goofy, but I'm just saying, like, you know, these kind of classic hype shit posts, and it sucks, man, because I know that the people who make these posts, they're not really living it. They're not really doing what they say they're gonna do. You know, I think the guys who actually get some shit done, and not even in like a public social media way, but just, you know, their own stuff, they don't need to talk about it. You know, they just go out there and do it. The action of making those posts, it's kind of like a, I mean, I'm not going to say always, but in general, I usually see that kind of stuff as sort of a pick-me mentality. You know, kind of like a little attention-seeking type situation. You know, because you're almost seeking external validation for work that you haven't even done. It's just work that you would feel cool if you could do, you know? So I've said this before, and I think I'm gonna quote myself. You know, don't make posts about what you're going to do. You know, don't make posts about how good you're going to be. It doesn't have to be about working out. It could be about anything. You know, just fucking do it. And then if you actually stick to it, the results will speak for themselves. You know, you don't need. If you're crazy good at something, you don't have to tell anyone. You don't have to show off. You know, the fact that you're that good at it, this could be anything, will kind of just, you know, uplift your, what was it? I was about to say status. That's not the right word. Actions speak louder than words. That's all I'm saying there. You know, because I see a million posts, and it's all a lot of this. Where, 225, 315 squat is a lot of talking, you know, come on. Right? Just make it happen. And if that's you, or if you, I bet you know someone who is exactly who I'm describing, you know, and you constantly see on their, you know, their Instagram stories or their Snapchat stories, like just kind of, I mean, the same posts year after year, you know? So I'm not trying to put anyone down, but, you know, talk's cheap, right? It's not as flashy to actually just practice something, you know, for, I mean, depending on what it is, literally thousands of days in a row. You know, how, I don't know how many rest days I've taken per year. Less than 20 for sure over the last like 5.5 years. So that's 5.5. So 5. It's 5.5 times 365. 1,500, 1,650. I'm coming up on almost like 2,000 days of just the same shit back to back, you know? And you've only seen a little bit of it, right? These videos have only been as of late. You know, this kind of documentation of the journey, as it were, right? Don't forget, there was, before these, so I think it's been about a year and, almost a year and a half of these kind of daily workout videos. There was 4 more years of workouts before any of this stuff, you know? So don't, and I don't see that as a discouraging thing, you know? Like, working out's a fucking process. And for me, I'm fucking fine by me if it's a long haul type situation, you know? It's like if you really like a show, you never want it to end. If you really love a game, you never want it to end. You just want it to keep going. So for me, I wouldn't mind if it took fucking 20 years to get as big as this. I would probably keep doing it. So that's a little bit of insight into my mentality. And sometimes I feel a little bit strange when I hype up the gym, because I talk in the same way when I say a lot of these little tips and advices and stuff, and like little insights from like my own perspective and shit. But a lot of the time I'm kind of switching between talking to two types of people. You know, the first type is just the general lifting population. You know, I think everyone and their fucking mom should go to the gym on a consistent basis. You know, weight training is incredibly good for you. You know, muscle maintenance wise, metabolism wise. If you go from zero exercise to consistent exercise, your whole body is just going to be a way more fucking efficient machine. And you only got one. So if it works kind of cool and you feel good, that's a better case scenario, you know. So I'm talking, everybody should work out. Everybody should do their cardio. Everybody should probably be tracking their macros. You probably feel better. That's, you know, I'm almost talking to just everybody like that. But, you know, sometimes I kind of talk to the freaks, you know, like the guys who are totally nuts. And that advice is a little bit more, let's just say it's not to be applied so generally, you know. Like, I don't think everyone needs to track every fucking gram of carbs that they eat every day, and every gram of fat, and every gram of protein, or has to be able to look at food and think like, okay, that's 40 grams of protein, 20 grams of fat. Yeah, that's a pretty doughy piece of bread. That's probably 40 grams right there. You know, I don't think everyone has to be so nuts about that, right? Literally just from adding consistent workouts to your regular routine, you're going to see noticeable changes in months, which I think everybody can benefit from. But if you're really the type of guy where, like, you know this is your shit and you want to get good, you want to actually make serious fucking gains to the point where, like, if you walk into the gym, people kind of get a little more serious because they know that you're going to push it. You know, those are the guys that I really looked up to when I was starting out. I never talked to this dude. His name was Noah the Fox. Yeah, you can look his ass up on Instagram. Dude's fucking huge. He's bigger than me right now. He's like 6 something or other. He can bench 4 plates flat, like, not nasty, you know. I've thrown 4 plates around, but he can use 4 plates as a real set, you know. And when he walked into the gym at the YMCA that I still go to, you know, I think he's moved now, but when he would come in, the demeanor would change. He was serious. He knew what he was doing, and you didn't even have to see him work out to know that he was a fucking freak show, right? So, I mean, when I see guys like that, I'm like, yeah, that's fucking sweet, right? You literally have a fucking aura, you know. So if that's you, if that's what you know that you want to lock in for, you know, X amount of years, then the more of a nutcase you are about it, and the more fucking, I mean, the gym is the number one thing that I think about all the time. I've said this before. If you could do like a screen time analyzation of my fucking mind, gym is totally number one. Now that's a lot of different things, you know. That's diet, that's sleep, that's my routine, that's like what I'm gonna lift, you know. That's what it's. But the let's just say the category of working out has got to be the number one thing on my mind. No, it's not the only thing, of course. I still, you know, like other shit, but it's up there. It is probably top dog by a pretty large fucking margin, you know. And if that's you, it's gonna make sense that the harder you go and the more detailed you get and the more effort you put into it and the more of a fucking, like, the more that you can hold yourself to literally just a fucking nutcase routine, you're gonna get better results, you know. And that's something that you have to decide for yourself, you know. Like, I don't think this is a lifestyle that everybody should do. That'd be fucking crazy. But if that's you, you know, to quote a legend, the more you put in, the more you'll get out, right? So don't be afraid to get weird looks or do weird shit or fucking, you know, make crazy faces because you're actually pushing it. Don't make fucking stupid faces in the gym if you're just joking. I see those TikToks. It's, you know, kids doing like 20-pound rows and he's going and I can tell he's literally not even fucking trying. I hate that. But if you're a real nut, the harder you go, the better you'll do. Now that applies to everything. You know, if you're a fucking, I don't know, whatever other thing you're crazy passionate about, the more you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. I mean, this is basic. This is 101. You know, this is 1 + 1 = 2 type situation. But I think it's worth referencing the fact that sometimes I'm trying to, you know, preach to everybody, and then with some of these tips, I'm kind of aiming at the real, I don't want to say outliers, because you don't have to be crazy, you don't have to have crazy gains already to be an outlier. But in your mind, if you know, okay, I want to do this set so hard that I fucking feel like I'm going to pass out. If you can kind of bring that a reasonable amount of the time, then I think you should. If you're a freak. I'm losing track of my thought process right now. But I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. I can tell my blood sugar is low from that fucking leg day. That's one thing that I notice, especially after, well, a big lift like legs, when I'm dieted down. You know, I don't have so much sugar running around my body from, you know, having a ton of food or even just drinking like intra-workout fucking carbs. So I can tell right after cardio and right after the workout, sometimes I've got a little bit of brain fog going. But yeah, I think that's all I gotta say there. Veiny leg pump. Now I'm ready to eat and get some rest. So I'll see you next time.